you can see that there's a particular person. The moment they say, ah, like all the time. Like,
I communicate with spirit, I work with spirit, and I use my magical gifts. And show you some things we got here.
I remember when I was like about 8, 9 years, I visited my grandmom in the village. And that weekend just happened that they caught some witches.
Religion is a motivating factor for the violence associated with the belief in witchcraft.
when they say we're coming to stone, is it death or we're coming to stone the devil? I can't, and they said everybody should go and bring stones, and I brought a tiny stone, and the pastor came that me, I'm not serious. Look at this stone. How am I going to stone the devil with this?
Welcome to the VOIICE Talk Show, where we give voice to the unspoken of Africa to inspire change. I'm Richard Tiao, your host, and today we are talking about witchcraft and strange beliefs in Africa and around the world. This episode is very unique and special because we will be reaching out to voices from around the world in UK and also in the US of A. On this episode, we'll be reaching out to one of our voices from the US who is a magician. We're reaching out to producers of the documentary Fear of the Unknown, where we tackle the issue of witchcraft. Witchcraft is real. What do you think? Do you agree or disagree?
What I would say is, we have this saying that whatever has a name exists. So far as it has a name, it exists. And I've actually, it's witchcraft is, I will put it in, let's say it's, in this world we have the fleshy part and the spiritual part. So it's in the spirit, and before you can know much about it, you have to be in the spirit. I actually have an encounter, and it's actually, I don't know, I might say it, and some people will be like, oh, it's not real because they've not seen it. Actually, it's in a form of dream form, so let's say I would say it's real.
Okay, so for me, I feel witchcraft is real, based on the fact that historically there have been documented instances of people being accused of practicing such craft. So historically it has been seen as a craft over the years, and based on that particular form of energy exchange, people have misconstrued it over the years into a century or a generation. So I feel it's something that has different forms in which it exists, in the sense that it's an energy exchange. There are things that happen that we cannot explain. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
I believe that witchcraft isn't real because I feel like it's, first of all, I feel like it's like superstitions that have become cemented in our minds. Of course, I believe in the supernatural, and I believe that there are things that happen and we can't really explain how they happen. And and then we also have people who do the astrologies and the palmistry and all these kind of things that we really don't understand. So I feel like it's people obviously have like some kind of higher energy where they can do things, but the way witchcraft is displayed in our culture, in our context, I don't think it's real, that people get up at night to go and fly or chew meat or do all these kind of bizarre. I feel like it's just superstition that has, like, people have believed because, and also because of the fear of unknown, and people just want to be dramatic, like they say things. But I definitely believe that the supernatural things exist.
It's real because some people have been caught in the act and they've confessed that this is what they've been doing for several years now. You get me?
People can be delusional.
No, this is not delusional.
So many I've actually googled this before, and they will tell that this sign is on their body and all these kind of bizarre things. I can't believe in it. I feel like they are, and people obviously people get up to come and say that they are witches and they do they are. I'm sorry, but no, not me.
With our polls on Instagram, 95% of people agree that witchcraft is real, 5% disagree. So the next statement says, I've had a personal encounter with a witch. I've had a personal encounter with a witch.
I agree because me having a personal encounter, like I said, it's somehow spiritual, and if I should explain, it was in a type, let's say in a dream form, and whatever happens in a dream, we believe it might happen in the flesh. But it happened more like me being in a place, in a dark place, and these black people in black clothes trying to give me something in the calabash to drink, and which I say, no, I don't want to drink it. And they're kind of like, drink it, they're forcing me to drink it, and then I start praying and asking God for help. Then fire sets in, and I just woke up. So I woke up, I start praying, and I tell my mom about it. My mom tells me these stuff, and we have to move forward with it. So I think it was an encounter I had with him, so I agree.
I think that all these things are in the subconscious. Like we've watched movies where we've seen witches wearing black, and who said witches wear black? Like, you know, and then all these calabash and drinking and all these. I feel like it's in your, like it's in the subconscious mind. Do you understand me? Like, but like, and then also initially you said something about everything that has a name, Tooth Fairy has there's such a thing as a Tooth Fairy, but it doesn't exist. I've dreamt that I'm in Jupiter before. Doesn't mean that, like, you know, like I'll go to Jupiter one day. I feel like I'm not invalidating your dream, but I'm just saying that in the subconscious mind there are things that we believe, or even things that we connect, like in little, then they come in forms of dreams. But some people take their dreams too personally, and I mean,
so I think with what my brother said earlier, I think he doesn't. You don't have anything to lose if you have a bad dream and you pray about it. I mean, so fine. If you claim that there's no supernatural and you die and then you wake up and you see that there's supernatural, he doesn't lose anything. He's taking, based on his faith, he's doing what he's doing.
What I find interesting, especially with this, is the fact that like a lot of us agreed previously that witchcraft is real, but when it came to, do we have an encounter with, like, so what, how,
Okay, so if based on the first question, my explanation was based on the fact that I believe that witchcraft, per the name indicates, is a craft which involves energy exchange. So people will talk about, those who disagree will talk about how the projection or the depiction of witchcraft in movies based on black things, the negative stereotypical forms that are very superstitious. There are other forms of things that happen. People that are able to heal things that we are unable to explain scientifically. Anything that we may not have a scientific explanation to is out of the ordinary. Based on that particular form of explanation, if it indicates that there is a greater power at work. So you could say that it's either coming from the Lord God Almighty or a supernatural being. We might not have that clear understanding as at now because of the fact that our knowledge of this world is limited to what we know based on science, discovery, and other things. So for me, the fact that I may not have encountered such a thing, people's accounts and things that they've said gives that indication.
So if we talk about like energy exchange, or people who have like higher, like a certain kind of higher energy, and they're able to do some things, like maybe like psychics, or like all these Superman and Spider-Man kind of thing, like people are like that, but their own is in a different form. I can kind of agree. But in the context where people will just get up and go and they'll see that this man is sitting on your happiness, or like this man is going to catch you and kill you and eat you up. If we were killing people to eat up, I don't think anybody would be left in Ghana. Like, I feel like some of these things are just superstitious, but that doesn't mean I don't believe that people can do weird supernatural things.
So talking about witchcraft being real, having personal encounters with a witch and all, we also want our viewers to see what happened to a woman who is over 90 years old, who was accused of witchcraft, was lynched in the middle of a village, a market square or something like that, and she died. So we just want to watch a short video of that and come back to discussing this whole issue.
Read the
Akua Denteh, the old woman, could have been guilty. So, okay. No, we are trying to find out, right? All we are delving in right now is witchcraft. So, if witchcraft is real, could she have been a witch?
You know, under what context do we actually charge somebody as being a witch or not a witch? And then secondly, I believe, in my opinion, I don't think, first of all, before anything, Akua Denteh of late memory, she's human. She's flesh and blood like us. And legally, per the laws of the state, it is not allowed that one man should take another person's life. You would agree with me. So, first of all, with regards to the story, this is what I heard. I heard that she is a witch. She's the reason why the community is not prospering. How can prosperity be tagged on one person's head?
So I can't tell if someone is a witch. I just know witchcraft is real. I believe in that. But then I can't tell if someone is a witch or not. Just there's a possibility that someone could be a witch or witcher. But then physically, I don't think anyone can point someone and say this person is a witch unless you also have that kind of energy. You could exchange that energy with the person. But if not, then I don't know. And for in our setting, like how we believe witches to be, I don't think Akua Denteh was treated fairly. Even if she was a witch, there's no way that woman could tag Akua Denteh of being the reason why the community is not developing or whatsoever. Because witches move together. She can't do anything alone, and no one has the right whatsoever to take another person's life. I mean, that's so inhuman.
But I think if Akua Denteh could have been a witch, the manner in which she was treated was unwarranted, because we live in a country where we have laws, rules, and regulations. We have norms and things that we work with. And under no circumstance should any individual, irrespective of their authority, their position, should elevate themselves above the law, because of the fact that the law is the most prominent instrument in the country. So it doesn't matter about how the person is able to make that determination. Like Jesus Lynn said, it could be an energy exchange, because of the fact that even coming to ourselves as human beings, we all have intuition. We are able to feel things that naturally, I see this person, I just don't like the person because he or she behaves this particular way. You might be wrong, you might be right. It's your intuition working based on the fact that there is something ongoing that you may not be able to explain immediately. Later, if you observe the person over time, you can say, oh, okay, this is the reason why whenever I see him, I don't feel comfortable around him. So even though there may be an intuition as to why they might think she might be a witch, if they have not been able to prove over time the reason why they are thinking that way, they have no right to lay their hands to treat her in that manner, because of the fact that she's a human being first of all. And if that be the case, then it opens up for conversation for us to be able to engage these type of issues that we have been avoiding as society, because of the fact that in order to protect ourselves from having this difficult conversation, we always attribute things to superstition. This is superstitious, so we don't get to talk about it. This is how it is, so don't even venture about it. That is the problem with our society, because people don't get to understand certain things that they need to understand. The same thing we had this superstition that pregnant women cannot eat egg. If they eat egg or bite the egg, they'll end up damaging or harming their child. These are things that exist. But then again, it doesn't, it, there's no basis for these things.
Akua Denteh's issue aside, we've seen this kind of behavior and this kind of accusation break homes, break families, and break even individual persons because someone goes to church and their pastor says your grandma is a witch, your sister is this or that, and all these kind of weird accusations. But for me, whether the person is a witch shouldn't be the issue if you actually believe that you are a Christian or you have this kind of other power to protect you or shield you from whatever the person is going to do to you. So if you get up in the morning and you pray or you say Psalm 91 or you say Psalm 23 or whatever, you know that you have a certain kind of shield around you. And this woman who is saying she's a priestess or whatever, who was able to identify that Akua Denteh was a witch and was the reason the community wasn't prospering. If she had that kind of energy to be able to tell this, I'm sure she should have like some kind of antidote to counter that kind of behavior where Akua Denteh's witchcraft will not be as potent or as powerful. So if you have this kind of divine protection, or you believe that you have this kind of power, or you believe that God has your back, somebody being a witch should not be a bother. Let them sit there and do their witchcraft or whatever. How it's because it really breaks family, and it's a reason why there's a lot of setback in our communities and in our homes and in our families, and even with individual persons. If somebody's accused of being a witch or a wizard and the person's an outcast, how the individual feels, it affects everything about the person. Like there's a whole psychological breakdown of that individual's outlook in life, and these are the things that we should all think about. If you know that you are praying and things and somebody comes to the person, which okay, they should be in their corner, like, and so what?
Yes. So that statement was actually to bring out the fact that it doesn't really matter if the person is a witch or not a witch. It's not even a thing to think about. Yeah, so if you have that power to determine, to see, then that means you should be able to protect yourself. You should be able to pray. You should be able to cover yourself by the blood or whatever you believe in. And also, a lot of people say that if she were a witch, she would have been able to protect herself when she was being attacked. There should be some power to protect her. But because that power did not exist and nobody could speak for her and she was vulnerable at that point, I don't think witchcraft is vulnerable. It should have some power.
Because she is poor, she has no one. No one can talk for her. She doesn't help anyone. She doesn't pay fees for anyone. So they think, and maybe the age too is talking, because maybe due to those bipolar and those petty, they all acclaim she's a witch and like she's the cause of everything. But certain every grandmom is a witch. Every grandmom is a witch. If you visit your grandmom and your grandmom has to prepare uto and egg, you tell your children not to eat.
The polls from Instagram about I've had a personal encounter with a witch, 25% agree that they've had a personal encounter, 75% disagree. Just as voice Ezekiel spoke about intuition, that sometimes you are intuitive and that can be described as witchcraft. There's a voice from the US who also believes that witchcraft is not anything that's evil. He feels like it has carried that connotation over years and he identifies with that, but would describe himself rather as a magician.
I want to talk about, is it real? Spirituality, which is all the same, even with religion, because if we look at the definition, it talks about communicate with spirits, deities, or ancestors. Whatever God you praise, whether it's Jesus, Allah, that's a deity. And when you are praying, you are communicating with that deity. Therefore, that is a form of witchcraft. I feel as though those who are accused or insulted, or have this negative connotation of witches, you are simply just misinformed, and you're using that misinformation to increase a fear, and you're being irrational out of that fear. Humans have done it before, and they will always do it. And we cannot allow our ignorance to label something that we know very little about. And that is what happened with that elderly woman. She was 90 and she was lynched for being a witch. But the connotation of witchcraft That is the issue here. Therefore, you can't just say, "Oh, Jeremy, you're eating broccoli. You must be vegan." That's not how that works. You're not gonna be a witch and automatically be assumed to be a freaking devil worshiper. I don't think that's how. Well, that's not how it works, you guys. We have to be more open into understanding that people are different and their praise is different, their worship is different, and is not to be confused as being evil, and nor should we just consider it witchcraft, because for some people that is a derogatory term. I communicate with spirit, I work with spirit, and I use my magical gifts. And show you some things we got here, like a dream interpretation book. Dreams are a different realm, and they have the ability to send you messages. If you have a dream, no matter how weird it is, everything is symbolic. Even, the bathroom has a symbolic meaning to it. And then we have the more commonly known stuff, tarot cards. Tarot cards are just a way to increase intuition. Intuition is a spiritual gift. It's of divinity. So I don't think it's a bad thing to want to have a stronger sense of intuition. Of course, your spell book. Words are spells. Words are spells. Sentences are spells. Speaking is a spell in itself. And that's just what witchcraft teaches people, not to have certain intentions or not to feel certain things and then manifest it or say certain things, because you will manifest a specific outcome. Witchcraft isn't what you see in movies. Witchcraft isn't anything outside of just, being in touch with who you are. And that's it. It's love and light. Do what makes you feel comfortable and don't persecute others for what they feel.
Like, I've heard someone accuse another person of witchcraft. Wow.
So I remember when I was like about 8, 9 years, I visited my grandmom in the village. And that weekend just happened that they caught some witches and wizards. So then they sent them to the the chief's palace. So like about, I think, 3 boys, an old woman, and then 1 woman. So like they were seated in the middle of the compound, and then almost all the community members were there to witness. So they were forced, I don't know if I should say forced or whatever, but they were asked questions, and then one way or the other, they answered in a way that says yes, like agreeing to the fact that they have that spirit. So I think, I've witnessed someone being accused of.
I've seen instances where people also affirm that they are also witches and wizards or whatever. Like the pastor will pray for them, and they themselves will come out and come and confess and do all these kind of things. So I've experienced, or like I've seen instances where they'll tell you, "Oh, don't talk to this person," or like, "Be careful with this person because the person is a witch or like a wizard or something."
If someone accuse another person of witchcraft, 95% agree that they've heard, 5% disagree. The next statement says, "I believe in exorcism."
So yeah, because I agree and I disagree. I don't know, we've been portrayed so many times of witches doing some wriggly stuff. Like,
Then they would tie them
and
to
they
a
would tie
tree,
them, and
hey!
they would roll on the floor. And I mean, come on, man. If you are a real witch, would you actually do that? Like, hurt yourself?
Anointing of
Yeah, so it happens. For me, I believe in it. Like, yeah, it happens.
Believe some demons are just too dramatic. I mean, if you are living, if you are living,
When I
you
go
know,
to church and I hear people screaming and things, sometimes I'm like, you can see that there's a particular person. The moment they say, like all the time, like only you, there's an anointing coming, or like they're casting, like, what are you? Like, we can't place, like, there are people like that. Every day, I went to a certain church, okay, this is a legit experience. When I was ill, and my doctor, she was new to the faith, and then when I was on campus, she took me to a certain church in La Paz somewhere, and There were lots of bizarre. Eventually, I called an Uber and went home. Like I could not stand it. They told me, "Oh, it was strange. There was a lot of strange things happening. The church, you don't dance, you have to run. Like a whole lot of bizarre. And then I got to a point. They said, "We're coming to stone." Is it death? Or we're coming to stone the devil. I can't, and they said everybody should go and bring stones. And I brought a tiny stone, and the pastor came. That me, I'm not serious. Look at this stone. How am I going to stone the devil with this? And there's this woman who brought she and her son brought like 5 big stones. And I'm like, hey, this woman, I think the devil is in her house. Like, what are you doing?
And he's saying big stone. The devil is not physical. It's more of spiritual. So you have to get tough in your mind and in your spirit. That's it.
When we prayed, I went to cast the stone and everything. I was like, the one thing happened, and then when it immediately happened, I was like, please, I have to go now. Exactly. They brought a whole bit, the VOIICE, the big bottle of, I should drink all that instant. And I'm like, I told them, I can't. That's when I left. And then you see people spitting. Like I was like, I cannot. Let me just go with my trouble. I'll go to another church for healing.
So talking about this whole thing, like it's a whole controversy that I don't think we can ever come to an equal stance, because we are all saying that it's a spiritual thing and it's hard to determine spiritual things because it's very almost personal. If someone says this is what I believe, there's nothing you can really say about that. So what the VOIICE Foundation and the VOIICE Entertainment and Kente Entertainment did was we came together to do a documentary called The Fear of the Unknown to unravel these mysteries. We went to the Gambaga witch camp where we found out certain things that have never really been spoken about. I remember the man talking to us and going like, you always tell our stories wrongly. Like, and and we came with a perception, found out that there were so many things that we didn't understand, and it was an eye-opening experience. So we'd like to listen to the producer.
VOIICE Entertainment is a film production company and is currently working with Kente Entertainment and the VOIICE Foundation, and we're working on a documentary called Fear of the Unknown, and this documentary is more to do with mental health, and our main focus point is on the elderly due to the recent issue going on in Ghana when it comes to the elderly. We want to understand the perception Ghanaians have about abnormal behavior in the elderly people, whether it's related to mental health or it's about witchcraft. We believe through this documentary we'll be able to create awareness on mental health, and also to educate people that not all abnormal behavior in the elderly can be related to witchcraft, but sometimes it's more to do with mental health. I have lived in the UK for some time now, and when it comes to witchcraft, it's something that you hardly hear about. It's not a topic to be discussed, and it's nothing to do with evil. But most time they relate witchcraft to magic, so people don't really see any big deal when it comes to witchcraft. There has been a legislation which has been set in place in this country to prosecute any person that will accuse a fellow human of witchcraft.
We'd also listen to the guy from the Kente Entertainment as well. He's the CEO of Kente Entertainment.
At Kente Entertainment, our main aim is to make movies and documentary that would tell the world and give the world a different perception about how people see Africa and Ghana as a whole. Fear of the Unknown is to help raise awareness for these women, most especially in the northern parts of Ghana, and how best we can help to change their living conditions.
I remember when we were young, there was even this thing about Harry Potter initiating people into witchcraft. So they will say, if you have the book, bring it to church. And I went for some prayer camp in some mountain somewhere, and then over there you said they've tied people to trees. There was this girl that apparently the girl also said she was Lucifer, so they had tied her to a tree, and it was like, all these things. And then during the camp they came to say that she read Harry Potter, she watched the movie, and that's how come she got it. So they say in the camp, if you've read Harry Potter or whatever, come forward for prayers and all these kind of. I never sent my Harry Potter book though. I still have them. Like, I've never believed that Harry Potter will initiate anybody into witchcraft. But these are things that we were told to bring your book, then they'll burn it and all these kind of weird, bizarre things.
Okay, so the last statement says religion is a motivating factor for the violence associated with the belief in witchcraft.
I believe that we are all religious here, and we've all kind of disagreed to the kind of violence that people um, met out to people who are accused of witchcraft. So I think that it's more cultural than religious. And also, I've not seen anywhere in, like, I'm Christian, I've not seen anywhere in the Bible that says that people should beat or burn or do whatever to people who have who are witches.
I believe not everyone who witnessed Akua Denteh lynch was or is a traditionalist. I believe most Christians were there, and they believed that. So, and they also felt like, yeah, she is a witch and deserve whatever she's going through. And then at this moment, in this our setting, our pastors, some of our pastors they feed us with a lot of things that motivate some things that we do.
What I wanted to say is that for me, religion is a motivating factor because history says us all. Where we've seen instances where we've had the religious faction claiming that people are witches. We see these instances, the Salem trials, it was based on religious grounds, how these individuals were being identified because it has to be done based on a higher power. Something has to provide information to make that declaration for some people to believe in. So if people see religion as something that is of a supernatural experience and they believe in that thing, whatever that is said from that particular individual, even though that may not be what the teaching of that spirituality is, they'll still believe it based on the fact that the person in charge, the pastor, the Messiah, or the supposed individual that is taking charge of that message to them is entrusted or is believed to be saying the right thing. So they are fed with all these misconstrued narrative that this was going to happen. So for me, I'm not going to shield religion from certain atrocities that happen because of the fact that we've seen instances of religion infiltrating our culture.
Why I don't really think religion is to blame and culture is more to blame is because it was based on how the people interpreted the religion. Because it's the same Christianity that we are all sitting here saying that we don't believe witches should be killed. Do we attack the blueprints that was misinterpreted, or we attack the misinterpretation? Like, so I don't think it's the religion. It's how
the problem is that the misinterpretation is coming from the religious point of view and not from the person getting it, because the person is taking what the pastor has said that, look, this person is a witch, you have to fight it. With respect to how the person fights it based on what is available at their disposal. You get the point. So if you listen to your question, has been a motivating factor. How the violence takes any form in terms of whether they slap the person, they let the person go to a police station, they burn the person in oil, are things that are not, to some extent, should be it's the religion, because the pastor is using the religious authority which the person believes in to influence that person to take an action.
Religion itself is there. It has its own rules and and you have to, if you're in a sect or in a religion, you have to learn it for your own self. You understand? So it's not the religion. It's the you can't blame the religion as you blame the pastor and you blame the individuals for their lack of knowledge.
It's the same religion that's empowered that pastor to be able to say that thing.
When it comes to religion, right, we've had previous episodes where we spoke about religion and violence. And one thing that always comes through is the fact that a lot of people will do anything they want to do anyway, whether there's religion or there is no religion. They would always want to do what they want to do and sometimes use religion as a cover-up. So there are evil people, there are terrible people, but these people will do what they want to do and then use religion. If I am a terrible person, I won't care killing another person. If I am a terrible person, I won't care creating an atmosphere for another person to feel demeaned or less of himself. I won't care. And I'll do that and I'll use religion to cover up. I'm just concluding. It also completely eradicates the active, role that religion plays when it comes to violence and when it comes to these things. And when you're talking about violence, you're not only talking about death, you're talking about emotional violence, you're talking about different kinds of things. So thank you so much for watching. We want to thank people who have been supporting us, the Voice community. We want to our sponsors, our patrons, those who have been paying the dues, those who have been buying our t-shirts, those who have been watching our videos and sharing. I want to thank Ways Real Productions for amazing work, their videography, photography, and we're also thanking them for the space, the Waisstudios. It's an amazing place, a beautiful place you should see. It's at Awushimankwas. You should come check us out. It's an amazing place, and they do a lot of work, humanitarian work, religious work. They are also amazing. We thank all of you who have been supporting us and sharing our videos, sharing whatever we are doing. That's what we need to make the difference in the world. So follow us on Instagram, Voice Community. Follow our foundation, Voice Foundation, also on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, Voice Community and Voice Foundation as well. You can also visit our website. You can join our community. Everybody here is a Voice community member. You can become a Voice too. Just visit our website, Voice Community, VOIICE community.org/join to be a part of us. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
You never told them to click and subscribe.
Oh, please, before we go, click and subscribe. And, and turn on the notification bell, and also comment down below.